a lot of what I talk about now in the writing that I do is the magic that can happen in your life, and not to miss it, because the magic in your life is the intrusion of something greater than yourself in your life, you know. And I mean, I don't even know who I am, you know, so like who I am is being revealed to me myself. So even less do I know you or anybody else. So there's a whole element of mystery even within myself. And there's certainly a whole element of mystery in the rest of life. And when you get moments where you experience that mystery, hold on to them. They are precious moments. And if you can link them all together in the story of your life, you will see the journey. You'll join the dots on your journey and see where you've come from, and perhaps a sense of where you're going as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I say to people nowadays is, in history, Christianity has fought for hundreds of years over what to believe. And what I say to people today is, what you believe is not that important. You can choose to believe in God and in the Trinity, or the Holy Spirit, or you can choose to believe in angels, or you can choose to believe in that it's your great-grandfather looking after you from heaven. You can choose to believe whatever you like. That doesn't really matter. What matters is tuning into the sense of the mystery and wonder of life, and discovering who you really are, maybe, and who you're meant to be, and finding that special path which is there for you to travel. And maybe it's not a path at all. Maybe there's nothing in front of you. You have to it's like being on a boat out in the water, more than like being on a path that somebody else has trod. You have to navigate your own journey, and it's totally your journey and nobody else's.
That, hearing you say that, you know, that feels like, wow, permission to not believe some dogma or some indoctrination. It can feel like a relief, probably to a lot of people. And you know, you had this journey sort of to break away from somebody like telling you like, no, it has to be this way, and now you just sort of can do it how you like. And it seems symbolic of maybe what so many people are going through. I think I read that, you know, a generation ago, 90% of Irish were church going, and now it's, you know, only 10%. So there's been this sort of huge generational shift, and I've seen that happen, you know, in my own family and among my peers and things like that, that people are kind of saying, well, why does it have to be so strict? Or why do I have to believe what you're telling me? Or any of these things. So yeah, maybe you could just comment on, you know, this sort of transition that I'm talking about, and your perspective of that.
Yeah, I think we're living in an age where many people are leaving religious church attendance, but they still have a sense of the spiritual in their lives, and because they're not part of a church, we have less ability to talk about it, and we have no forum either in which to talk about it. People are not attending a group worship or anything. So they're the people that I'm working with most. When I'm asked to do somebody's wedding or whatever it is, it's usually people who would not feel comfortable having their wedding in a church, but neither do they want to simply go to a registry office where they fulfill the law and put down some signatures. They want something that represents the spirituality of what's happening in their relationship. And that's what my services provide. So there is that search there for us all. And in a way, religion has clouded it, because religion has provided people with the answers, whereas I think it's probably more important to simply have the questions. In the Celtic tradition, there's this lovely image of this world and the other world, and a veil between the two. So if you imagine a veil like a white sheet, some light can pass through it, but not everything can pass through. And the other world is the far side of that sheet, and it's very mysterious. So we really don't know what's out there in the other world. We just know there is another world, and we know that there's something powerful out there. But it's not like some human being on the far side is going to come up to the veil, to the sheet, and talk through it at us. They're not. There's nothing like us out there. We don't know what's out there, so I'm not even sure I can say that, but you can only imagine what's out there is really what I'm saying. And when we start imagining what's out there, like say God is out there, what we're really doing is we're projecting our thoughts onto the screen from our side. Mm-hmm. So the image of God is simply how we imagine whatever it is on the far side of the veil to be. And we have personified, we've said, oh, it's like he's a bit like a human being, you know, and it's a man, and he's probably old and has a beard, and he lives up in heaven. You know, we've put all this shape onto it, and that's fine because that's our imagination, but it's only one way to imagine it. So that's why I say to people, imagine it any way you like. We have no way of finding out for sure. The difference between belief and fact is that, you know, fact is provable. You know, if you don't accept that something is fact, I can probably show you, illustrate to you how it is a fact, whereas belief is not fact. Therefore, it's something you choose to believe. You can choose to believe one thing, I can choose to believe another. Who's right and who's wrong? Nobody can prove it. So any belief is as good as another. That's my view. So there are no orthodox beliefs as such. There are beliefs that a particular church insists that you have, but that's only to try to hold you in an exclusive group where you're in and the other person is out because they don't believe it and you do. But if you want to really get into your spiritual life, it's not beliefs that matter at all. It's your experience of your own uniqueness and your experience of the mystery of life and the mystery of the world. Like, I ask a question: why is it that there's so many of us living on this earth, and there are, what, 8 billion of us living on this earth? Why is it that each one of us is different? How come when evolution was, if you believe in evolution, I certainly do, how come that evolution develops in such a way that every time somebody is born, it's a person that was never, that nobody ever liked them before? They're completely unique. Mm. They have a recognizable face, they have a recognizable fingerprint, they have often a recognizable voice, and there's lots of other things about them that would make them recognizable as well. Why is that? And if you think about that for a bit, you realize that you are a complete, unique creation, work of art. And because you have a life to live, nobody can tell you what that life has to be, because you have a unique journey to travel in your life. And only you can make that journey, and only you can decide the direction in which you take. And how are you going to do that? And I'm saying to you, to discover who you are and the journey that you have to take in life, you must listen to all these communications coming to you from the far side of that veil. And they're going to come to you as experiences. They're not going to be in English or in Latin or in Greek or in Italian or in any other language that you might know. They're going to be raw experiences, and you have to decide what that experience means for you. So you do the interpreting. The experience is a fact. You can say to people, I've had that experience, and nobody can take it from you. You've had the experience, but how you interpret it is completely up to you. So that's your contribution, if you like. But the experience will help you to get a sense of who you are and what to do with your life. So
yeah, that's such a affirming way of looking at it, that I think probably a lot of listeners will be like, yes, I know that for myself as well.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that, because so much of the way we operate our society these days doesn't recognize that. Like in schools in Ireland, and I think it's true in the States as well, but you can tell me, it's certainly true in Ireland, that there's no sense in the schooling system of an attempt by the system to respect the individuality of every child and to encourage that child to be that person that he or she is meant to be. You know, I think parents have an intuitive feel for it, by the way. If you have more than one child, in your family and growing up that you're a parent of, you will know that each of your children is different. None of them are the same, even if they're twins. I have twins myself. I have 2 girls who are twins. They're totally different, as every parent of twins will tell you. Even if they're identical, they're not the same. So most parents intuitively know that they have to relate to each of their children differently. They have to respond to the child that they see in front of them, to their needs, to their desires, to their giftedness, to their interests, and you respond to that. And that's surely the way to go, because then you're taking what you're given in the child that you have, and you're working with that to develop it, to help it to learn and grow, and to be the person that that child is meant to be. And then when they get to adulthood, you've got to let them go. You can't dictate what life they're going to live. It might be very different from your life. They might have very different values and beliefs from you. You have to let them go. They are who they are. But our schooling system doesn't appear to me to respond to children like that at all. In Ireland, all the children are forced to dress in uniforms, for example, which seems to me gives exactly the wrong message. You know, if you dress all the kids the same, what are you saying to them? That they should be the same? They're not the same. You know, so why treat them the same?
Yeah, I have the sense that most schools in the States are the same, which I actually didn't realize. I went to a school that it was a private school, and I'm now it's so grateful for having gone to the school, because it was based on the multiple intelligences, Howard Gardner's theory
Oh,
of
excellent.
multiple intelligences, that each person has this blend of different ways that they learn and express themselves. And so the lessons were designed to sort of hit on each of these. They might be mathematical or kinesthetic or linguistic or musical.
Excellent.
And I was always, you know, on TV or in comic books, kids didn't want to go to school. They're like, oh, this is terrible. And I was like, you guys are nuts. School is the most fun thing ever. You get to hang out with your friends. You get to learn stuff. That's what kids love to do.
As it should be.
And then I, you know, now hearing sort of the sort of machine militaristic systematized version, I'm like, okay, of course, you know, kids wouldn't thrive in that type of environment.
No, they don't thrive at all. Most of them don't.